Welcome back to Straight Up with Steve and Stevona. I'm Steve Hernandez.
And I'm Stevona Delgado.
Oh, thank you so much. The views out the gate on this past week's episode with Gigi, blowing away everything previously seen on a Straight Up episode. What? 152, right?
153 this morning. Everybody does love Gigi. You actually captioned that correct.
Everyone does love Gigi. She's an incredible guest. If you have not seen that episode, go back and see it. Our subscriber count is at 52. We need 100.
54.
Okay. 54. We need 100, okay? If I'm to look my wife in the eye, if I'm to look my daughter in the eye and say, your daddy's not a loser, I've got to have at least 100 subscribers on YouTube, okay? Dude, did you know also the Apple Music went down at one point? We finally got Spotify. You guys have been great. Thanks for hanging in there with us. You know, I proposed a question to Julia yesterday, and I was actually intrigued by it. I've been joking around lately about selling the baby for $50,000. Because that's a very I think that's a very attainable number. I think that for sure.
I don't think so.
No, I think we could for sure sell the baby for $50,000.
Yeah, but $50,000 is not enough. You could get more.
That's what she said. She's like, no, this is a top-notch baby, beautiful, great personality.
And $50,000 not even enough for a BBL.
Do you know how much a BBL is?
Yeah, $80K.
They never look good either.
Some of them do. You got to go to the ones in Tijuana. The ones over here, nah. Or you got to go to Dr. Jung Money. Do you know him?
No. No, it wouldn't be crazy if I did. But then we were in the pool yesterday, and I asked her, would you sell the baby for $10 million to a loving, rich couple? And she was like, no. That's crazy, right? I don't think I would sell the baby for $10 million either. Which means that we're better than 10 millionaires, okay? It doesn't matter if we live with my uncle, all right? It doesn't matter that I'm almost 50 years old and manage the best dive bar in Covina. Which, by the way, you guys got to start coming out more, okay? I know we're in a recession, but for Christ's sake, and you know what? This really hit close to home for me. My cousin, who's 22, and I love her dearly, she has a lot of great little cute friends. They used to come to the comedy show more about a year ago and stuff. But I was leaving to come to the bar yesterday to welcome a DJ here, and they brought out a bottle of Absolute. It was four girls, four cute little Mexican chicks, and they started taking shots of Absolute vodka at home.
I mean, yeah, that's what...
That could have been $60 in the chatterbox's pocket.
I don't mean to rat you out, but the idiots have been drinking like their own beer across the street for ages already.
As long as they're across the street, and as long as they keep buying they're drinking beers across there, and they're still spending a bunch in here.
Yeah, they got their hands in both buckets.
That's why they're taking a break from drinking. That's what they get for. And she just ratted out the idiots. Mm-hmm. So you hear that, guys?
Mm-hmm. They know I'm a snitch. They already know. They know what they signed up for when they became my friend.
So, hey, listen. Don't stay home. How are you going to meet new friends? How are you going to meet the lover of your dreams? It's all going to happen here at the Chatterbox. My brother met his wife here. They're two very successful people, okay? You could be missing out on your husband or your wife by taking shots of Absolute at home with your three close friends. Don't do that, okay? Get out here to the Chatterbox. We need your money, for Christ's sake, or we will go away. That $10 million question got me thinking about another question. Have you ever heard of the movie Indecent Proposal, Stevona?
No.
Have you heard of it, Greg? This was a big movie in the 90s, and then they proposed this question. People would talk about this question now, and it was, would you allow for your husband or wife to sleep with someone?
I already knew you were going to ask some dumb shit like that. No.
This is a movie.
I know, but you always got to poly.
No. This isn't poly.
Okay.
Would you allow them to sleep? Back then it was $1 million. $1 million used to mean something. Now I'm going to change it for inflation. For $3 million.
Ooh.
Truly. If you were with someone, your lover, would you allow them to sleep with someone for one night for $3 million?
If the other person is ugly.
No. This is Robert Redford. You don't even know who that is.
No.
But the other person's great looking and rich. One night, $3 million. It could solve all of your problems for a little while.
But who's putting this deal together? Like the rich person wants my man?
Yes. Yeah. So this is a movie starring Woody Harrelson and Demi Moore. And Robert Redford is a rich guy. He sees them at the casino. They're like a young couple struggling, trying to make ends meet. And he says, "I will give you $1 million if you let me sleep with your wife." And Woody Harrelson lets him, and it destroys their relationship.
Yeah, you're taking money. You're selling your soul pretty much, no? As a metaphor?
Well, back when people were having this kind of debate, they were...
wish somebody came to you with that question, huh? Because you would just be like, yep,
Well,
give me the money.
First off, Julia would do it. She would want to do it. And I liked it. I would, yes, absolutely. For $3 million? Yes. If Julia wanted to. If she didn't want to, I wouldn't.
But then there was a possibility that it could ruin yours and Julia's relationship.
It wouldn't ruin ours because we're forward thinkers. We're not like you. We don't think about soul ties and bullshit like that. We're practical people. So, so Julia wouldn't mind getting $3 million so she wouldn't have to work for, I don't know, probably the rest of her life.
Yeah.
For the $3 million. For a fucking one guy for one night? Who gives a shit?
I mean, I guess I would say yeah, but I would like, do you have like a brother or something that I could sleep with and then we double it?
Why?
That way we both get something out of it?
Why would the person do that for their brother?
I don't know. I don't know, a cousin or something or a family member.
Why?
So that I know they have money too.
What who cares? You get the $3 million.
I want $6 million. And I want to be even.
Stevona has a burn mark on her little leg. Where'd you get that from?
I was trying to smoke wax in the car with my homegirl Vanessa.
In the car?
Yeah. It was after, yeah.
You didn't say that.
Well,
you guys had a blowtorch in a car?
Yeah, she did. That's the type of person she is. You know, Vanessa, shout out Vanessa.
You know, people they're always smoking weed out front and stuff. They bring boxes of weed and roll and do that. And I'm kind of joking when they offer it to me, and I'm like, you guys are no, I don't want to be a burnout. And this is what weed does: is you find yourself with a blowtorch in a Nissan Sentra,
and it gets you a podcast.
Yeah, and a huge burn on your thigh.
It's little, it's tiny.
Maybe to other people but it's huge on your little thigh.
Yeah, but you know what? It wasn't my idea. It happened that way, and you know what? God punished me. He knew I wasn't supposed to be doing that. So
yeah, God cares about what you do in a Nissan Sentra.
It was in a minivan. And yeah, he does, because he knows I'm better than that.
Don't you think God has better shit to do? Maybe like the genocide in Palestine or anything like that?
I think don't they pray to a different God?
If they prayed to the one true God, they wouldn't be experiencing.
Well, I don't know. They got to take that up with their God. Like, I believe, don't get me wrong, I believe my God takes care of everything, but also then I would have to be kind of like denying Buddha, right? Like other people's religions, God.
Oh, no, this is interesting. Every now and then, one of the great things about this podcast is Stevona starts talking. And I get insight into her little brain and how it works.
Like, that's the thing about God is he made, like, all these beautiful things in the world. But, like, our private parts are so, like, nasty and, like, they're weird looking. Like, how about our private parts look like gardens instead, you know? Like, little flowers and stuff like that. Wouldn't that be a lot cuter?
That's the thing about God. I think all vaginas are beautiful. I actually just do think that, yeah, and I've been with several, hundreds. Yes, go on.
We did get off topic about the people in Gaza and God.
Well, okay, go on. I don't know if this is a podcast to talk about these things. Go on.
No, I don't want to talk about them. I don't want to talk about that. I was just saying that, like, as a Christian, right, it's like you have to accept God and there's only God. So technically they're saying that, like, Buddha doesn't exist. You know how, like, other countries have their own God that they worship? So technically Christians are kind of saying, like, that doesn't exist no matter what they say, right?
What doesn't exist?
That, like, Buddha doesn't exist or any other gods that these other countries
not technically
pray to?
Not technically. If you read the Old Testament, that's like a big part of some of the first books of the Bible, is they say that our God is better than your God. So they don't deny the existence of these other gods. There was a god that people would sacrifice their kids to name, and I could be butchering this, but Balal. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of almost like Yahweh, the God of the Old Testament. His whole thing was basically, I will never ask you to sacrifice children to me. And That's why it was so weird. Have you heard the story of Abraham when he asked Abraham to sacrifice his own son?
Yeah. Isn't that when he like carries him all the way up?
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then
yeah.
right when he's about to do it, he's like, just kidding.
Yeah.
I just want to see if you were down.
Yeah. That sounds like something Stevona
Yeah,
would do.
that's why I related to it. Like, all right, don't do it. I just want to see
God's
if
a
you were down.
Latina right there. Yeah, which I've never.
I always thought that was crazy too.
It is. It's not real. Like that's what I mean. That particular story. I've heard of a rabbi saying. There's this one like controversial rabbi that said, from that point on, God never talked to Abraham again because he said that to Abraham, and he expected Abraham to say, "I will never. You're not that God. You would never ask me to sacrifice your kid." But he didn't do it. Instead, he, like a f***ing psycho, he went to sacrifice his kid.
Yeah.
If God is real, if the God of the Bible is real, I don't think he would ever ask us to sacrifice our kids.
No. So then, as like Christians, it's not technically saying like, oh, your gods don't exist. It's saying your gods exist too, but ours is just better.
Yes, that's what the Old Testament is kind of like.
Oh, okay. So is that kind of like what Christians kind of like think right now?
I don't know what the these guys think.
In a way.
I don't know what the hell they think. They don't.
Because I also feel like, oh, yes, I do love my God. I do feel like he's the most powerful, the almighty. But then I also am respectful towards other people's like religions and where they live and the God that they serve. And like sometimes I'm like, when the crazy things goes on, I'm like, I don't sometimes they want to revert it back to my God. I'm like, I don't know, but that's them. They got their God too. Is it separate or what is it? Like, are the gods together? Or is it
I think
game?
we got to get you and Theo Von together, and I think you guys could really solve this genocide thing. I do. You know what? Remind me, Greg. I want to post this in the Instagram. My mom sends me Christian stuff all the time. She sent me this 25-minute video of it's just a picture, but it's audio. It's like this guy telling the story. I'll find some way to post it online. But Elon Musk's kid, like X dash QWX, walks into this mega church pastor Stephen Furtick, which I know who this guy is. But this story's insane. You have to see it. So far, I've only listened to like 5 minutes of it. But Elon Musk's kid goes alone, like he's an 8-year-old, and approaches the pastor in the middle of the service. This makes no sense, I know. I'll post it on the thing. But my mom's always sending me crazy Christian. She sent me senators or people in the White House praising God, and she's like, "Yes, like this is what it's all about." She voted for Trump, you know.
I don't like when the politicians do it.
They're not supposed to do it.
Pray?
Not publicly. Like it's supposed to be a separation of church and state.
Yeah, I know, and they just mix it in, and then the dummies fall for it.
Yeah, the dummies do fall for it.
Jeez, I'm like, I love God, but then I can't back these people up sometimes, you know?
I don't think God backs them up either.
Can't back these people up.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to talk about God stuff too much anymore. I do want to clear up something, though. I am simply the manager of Chatterbox. A lot of people call me the owner. They think I'm an owner. If you found out how much they paid me, it would be so sad to you. Because I've devoted my life to this bar in many ways. I might say it at some point. I might tell Greg. But it's a pittance. But I love this place so much. I want to keep it open. Stevona, do you have a job that you really loved before?
The gas station. Just, they kept me there too long.
How long?
8 hours.
Oh, you mean a day?
Yes. For 5 days a week is crazy,
You
though.
used to work 40 hours a week at the gas station?
Yeah.
Would you eat your food there?
Yeah. I would do everything there. I literally even had a bean bag there. I would bring my own bean bag, and I would sit in the bean bag and wait for customers to come. I would eat all the snacks inside the gas station.
That's what I did. I worked at
Go
full-time.
smoke with my customers, like when I was going to go take the trash cans out.
I don't know what I was thinking. When I quit being a youth pastor, I worked 2 nights a week at a graveyard, at a gas station, and full-time at a liquor store. And, yeah, I was that guy who you had to knock on the window to wake up. I was that guy. But I would eat the sandwiches. I'd eat brownies, chips. I never thought about them taking inventory.
Yeah,
I just did whatever the fuck I wanted. I know it's so funny, but I never got in trouble or anything.
Me neither.
So I was like, well, I must, who cares? I'll never forget one time.
I used to steal the cigarettes and give them to my dad.
Damn, you just take a pack?
I would take the whole like box.
Carton?
Dude, I just I don't want to say the name because I plan on owning one.
A gas station?
At the gas station, they wouldn't. The one that I was at, they wouldn't really care. Like there was so many of us. There was about maybe 3 of us that got in actual physical altercations with customers.
Oh my
before,
God!
and, like nothing ever happened because the one that I worked at in Baldwin Park was the brother of the one that I also worked at in El Monte. So they didn't care about nothing. They was even coming in.
Were they Armenian?
No, they were Asian.
Okay.
Which is even crazier. Remember I told you they've been getting away with too much.
Always getting away with too much.
And they're always the least suspected because they just look so gentle. But nah, they got some shit up their sleeve. I'm telling you. But
did they like you?
Yeah, they like me. Yeah. They would come in like when we was working on holidays, and they would just take all the hot dogs and go barbecue them at home.
One time I was working the graveyard gas station, and we had like a mini mart that was like I had to get up and go get things. So sometimes the door was locked, and people would say, "Can you get me a Coke or a Diet Coke?" And I'd say, "Okay," and I'd stand up and I'd go get him a Diet Coke from the thing and come back because everything was locked up. One time this guy came in, he was like, I think he was drunk, and he kept asking me to like get things, and then he'd be like, no, not that one, the other one. So that happened like 3 or 4 times, and then finally I was like, you know what, no. I was like, I'm not getting you anything. You keep making me go back and forth. And he's like, you know what I hate? And I said, what? And he's like, fat Armenian guys who think they know everything. And I said, I'm Mexican, you piece of shit.
I'm like, you know what? I fucking hate that too, man. What is it you want again?
Our guest this week is a very funny comedian. His name is Daniel Alvarez. And if you've ever seen him, you know he's an absolute beast. I don't want to give away the big surprise, but I will say this. He can't use his legs. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Straight Up with Steve and Stevona. With us, the very funny Daniel Alvarez. How are you, Dan? Yes.
Yay,
Doing good. Thanks for having me.
Great to be here. For myself, I'm glad you're here. I said great to be here. Like it's my show.
I mean, it is great to be here.
You were at the Covina Laugh Factory, last week?
2 days ago.
2 days ago.
2 days ago.
Yeah. You've been playing with Renee and Ralph Barbosa. It's been fun. Been wild, right?
Yeah, those shows are crazy.
And Duno as well. You been with Duno?
I did see him. I've done stuff with him like before, but not recently.
Okay, yeah, he's on the come up right now.
Yeah.
Ralph and Renee are like rock stars right now. So I mean, girls are coming out to fuck, right?
Hell yeah.
Have you gotten any? Are you trying to get the spillover? You just like laying in the cut?
I'm kind of dating somebody right now.
All right, so we can't talk about it.
Oh, is it hard?
Nah.
No, not hard. Are the girls that like approach them like cute, like hella cute, or are they just like?
Yeah, they're baddies. What do you mean? I trip out sometimes. I'm like, God damn, it's like this. Y'all got it like this.
And those guys are young too. They're not even 30 yet. I don't think.
Well, I mean, Renee's in a relationship, so he's kind of like.
He's in. Okay, I know you guys got to stick up for each other.
You're right.
Renee doesn't seem particularly monogamous to me. Nah, my girl. Daniel's not saying anything. That's on me, okay, Renee? That's hilarious.
But I agree.
I remember when Ralph was really coming up last year, and he was with his baby. I think when he started to really pop off, he was with his baby mama, and I was just like, dude, there's no way that's gonna last. If you're in your 20s, and are you kidding me? These guys are huge. I'm happy for them, and I'm glad you've been doing stand-up for how long now?
3 years and a few months.
Yeah, and you're doing great, right?
Yeah, I mean it's fun.
What the hell did you do before?
I went to school for photography and I paint.
Yeah,
so I was focusing on those 2 things.
Starving artists?
Basically, yeah.
Yeah, it's very, what's it called? Bound by honor, blood in, blood out stuff right there.
Yeah, for sure. And then, I have a podcast, and I started bringing in, like, photography fans and painter friends, and the way that they would talk about, I could feel the passion they had for it, but I had never felt like that about those things. And then I was always into stand-up, so one day I was just like, man, I'm going to try it. I'm going to just go out to a mic and see what happens.
What was your first mic you went to?
I went to the Hollywood Comedy on Melrose.
Oh, wow. You went in there.
Yeah.
I was talking about in there.
Yeah.
So I came to Chatterbox.
Yeah, no, so I went there and then just kind of like started going there consistently. And then another club had just opened up called Third Wheel. And then I started going there a lot and just kind of doing the rounds and, writing and all that stuff.
I used to live right by Third Wheel, but I was just like, I can't hang out with all those losers. It's just it's kind of play. The comics would just hang out there for hours.
Yeah.
It
right?
definitely gives like basement vibes.
Yeah. Like, I think the latest I left from there was like 7 in the morning.
Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would never. I was like, I cannot hang with these guys. They're silly.
Third Wheel and Accidental Chaos are like cousins.
Yeah. Third Wheel's renamed something now, right?
Yeah, they sold it and it's the Zebra Room now.
The Zebra.
Trying to rebrand.
Yeah. Yeah. No, they're trying to definitely try to separate one from the other for sure. So.
Well, I know you talk about it in your act. You lost you can't walk anymore. Can you, because you got shot?
Yeah.
What were you doing before all of it?
Before getting shot?
Yeah.
Getting that chick.
Wait, you can remind the ladies, how tall are you without the chair? Standing up. Let the ladies know.
I'm 5'9".
Okay, but that's still something.
not,
You should have lied and said 6 foot. No one's gonna get
Hey, I can't lie, because how are you going to prove it?
Exactly.
That's why I say you're a dummy for not lying.
Yeah, you can say 6 foot. That's so funny.
The only time, the way they'll find out is like once we're in bed, like, you're not.
Yeah. I'm 5'9" too, and I've always felt like perfectly fine at 5'9".
Yeah, I never felt short.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like for a Mexican, I think that's like, I'm kind of on the taller side.
Yeah, Mexicans do be shorties.
Yeah, 5'9" is great. That's so. Did you already have kids then when you got shot? How many kids did you have?
I have 2 kids. My daughter was like 6 months old, and my son was like maybe a month in the belly.
Yeah. Same woman?
Yeah.
Wait, that's not possible. 6 months and 1 month?
Yeah.
Oh, in the belly.
Yeah, he had we had just conceived him,
And how old were you?
I was 21.
Oh my
Wow.
Yeah, so my daughter just turned 18 on April 18th.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
so I mean, people always think about it, and now obviously you make jokes about this stuff and everything. But
Yeah.
You must have been like, how the fuck am I gonna make money, right?
Actually, that wasn't like one of the main things that I was thinking about.
He was saying, how am I going to
Yeah, that's what I was like, oh, my life is over.
When did you ask the doctor how that was gonna work?
Well, all right, this is the fucked up part. So I passed out when I got to the hospital. I passed out for like a few hours, and when I woke up, one of my cousins was in the room, and he was literally asking the doctor. He was like, "So he's never gonna have sex again?" That's what I woke up to. I was like, "Man, y'all should have let me die, bro. Y'all should have let me go."
I mean, you probably really felt that, right?
For real, I was like, God damn.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, I mean, I really like eating pussy, so to me that would be fine. I mean, I joke about this, but the older I get, the less I feel I care about coming. Like, I just don't care about it, because I think once you come as a man, you're just so weak. Like, you just want to go to sleep. You feel like a defeated warrior.
Yeah.
But to me, I'm like, if you could just let me keep you out, like, I'm sorry that you're gonna have to bleep so much on this, Greg, but I'll like fuck you for a couple minutes, and then I'm gonna just go down on you again. Like, I like just keep doing that over and over again. So yeah.
Like, I got that pressure. Like, I gotta be the best you've ever had. Like, I gotta be. I feel like I represent for my people. Like, I can't have these girls being like, these chair fools. I don't know. So I'm like carrying the whole community on my back.
But girls have had sex with you while you're in the chair, huh?
Oh yeah, for sure.
While you're in the chair?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Except they can't be that short, because then their legs don't reach, and then we can't get leverage.
Oh, I'm looking right now. That's hot. They just kind of like crawl on top of you, huh?
Yeah.
Dude, that's
It's
sick.
like doing it in a car all the time.
Basically, yeah.
I've only had sex in a car one time.
Really?
Yeah, just one time.
But because you moved out at a young age.
Yeah.
Nowadays with the economy, people are doing
There's
it
a lot of car cheek clapping.
I've just been so, I've come around to, I think I've always loved fat women, but when a girl's very fat, I just worry that my cock's not big enough. You've had to have that fear before, right?
No, sir. Not around here. Dude, you won't be unsatisfied,
Not me, man. I'm that personality higher, That's why I'm out all the time. I'm doing everything. I remember when I lost my virginity. It was to a girl who she around a lot. It's because I was very Christian, and I was cheating on my girlfriend to have sex for the first time with this other girl. Yeah, it's really fucked up. But I remember the girl, and I'm still Christian, but it was so funny too because I used to judge people in high school. Like I used to tell them like, yeah, God does not want you to have sex before, and they were always like, saying it's like, Steve, it's awesome, and I'm like, nah. I was like, I'll never do it. The first chance I got, she had kind of like, we'd known each other for years, and she, like I said, she kind of slept around a lot. So me, I'm like a Christian. I was kind of like judged her, not in a bad way, but I was just like, she'd always joke around, and she's like, why are you with these ugly girls? Why don't you give me a shot? She would say stuff like that, and I was like, nah, man, you're a slut. But then one time she called me, and we lived kind of close. I mean, I knew her since elementary school. This was in high school. And she called me, and she was crying, and she said, Steve, she's like, I think I'm pregnant. And she's like, I just need someone to talk to. And it was like summertime. I remember I was watching Grease.
I'm so saying this bitch is giving Rizzo.
That's wild.
Don't she get pregnant too?
Rizzo. And then she came over, and she was wearing like this really cute like sundress and stuff, and she was not crying anymore. And I was like, come. She's like, can I come in? I was like, sure. I remember Grease. I was watching Grease. I remember the hand jive was on, and I remember she like got on top of me, and I was like went up her dress, and I was just like, this is incredible. It was like the coolest thing ever. But I remember I lifted her up, and we went to my parents' room. Did you ever fuck in your parents' room?
Hell yeah. I was out here wilding. I was like, let's make this shit exciting, bro.
Well, it was just always, to me, your parents always had the best bed. So you didn't.
Yeah.
If no one's home, you're not gonna go to, you're not gonna F this girl in your bedroom. So I remember I went to my parents' room, and I remember they had a digital clock, and I remember I was like, I don't have to use a condom. She might be pregnant. So I was like, I don't care. And so I remember entering her, and I remember right away she was like, like going all crazy, and I was like, my is not doing this to her.
Yeah, you lie right now.
She was lying, and I was cheating on my girlfriend too. I felt so bad. I remember just pumping away, looking at that digital clock, just like pumping, looking at the digital. It was like 7 or 8 minutes of pure pumping.
And then after that, she was like, there are worse things I can do.
No,
sleep with a boy or two.
She was like, was that your first time? And I was like, yeah. And she like patted me. She said, you were good.
Oh my God.
And I was like, no, I was not.
This bitch was recruited.
You went in with mad confidence after that? Like, I'm good.
No, I knew I wasn't good. I mean, it was so, I felt so bad because I was like cheating on my girlfriend. I remember we like got up and kind of like went to the living room, and I said, don't you feel bad at all? And she was like, I didn't cheat on my girl. I'm not with anybody. And I was like, damn.
Oh.
She took me down. She stole it from me.
If I was your girlfriend, would have had to beat that ass at school the next day. I would have had to show up at her door, to be honest. I've been showing up people's doorstep.
Have you ever showed up to someone's doorstep?
Yeah, plenty of times. I actually just showed up to somebody's doorstep with Daisy like 2 weeks ago because somebody stole her phone.
Yeah.
And we had the location from my phone still, so we got the address and we drove all the way over there to go get it back, and we got it back.
You knocked on the door, and you said, I know my
door.
phone's in there.
Yeah. Well, an older lady. So what happened was that Daisy had went to a concert. It was like an Ashanti and Ja Rule concert in San Diego, and she left her phone in the restroom, and she says like maybe a minute later she realized, she tried calling her phone. Some girl picked it up and said, hey, I have your phone. And then Daisy goes, okay, well, I'm in the restroom. Where are you? And the girl goes, I'm in the restroom too. And then after that, the phone hangs up, and then they turn the phone off. So she didn't know where it was the whole entire night. The whole entire night it was off. And then it turned on automatically, and I had the location. So we screenshotted the location, and then she had already got a new phone. But I'm like, let's just go. Like, let's just go. Like, whoever stole my this phone will be there in 3 hours.
Yeah, they documented it like on their stories. Like, they literally made like a play-by-play of like, we about to beat this
And so you drove back down to San Diego?
Yeah, we drove to, it was at Oceanside. Yeah. We drove down there.
And so you knocked on the door. What happened?
Older woman, older senora lady answered, and I asked her if she spoke Spanish because I was already like, talk for you. Like, don't even worry, I'll talk for you. And then she spoke Spanish. I'm like, Daisy, sorry. You gotta take it from here. But Daisy was like, oh, like I just tracked down the phone and they sent it here. And the lady goes, oh yeah, we were waiting for you. But the phone was off.
Yeah, we were waiting for you.
We were waiting. I was already ready. I went in my fucking middle school PE shorts. Like, I was ready to whip some ass. But yeah, that's what I love to be showing up.
At least they didn't. At least they gave you the phone. You know what I mean? You didn't have to like call the cops or anything.
I mean, well, yeah. I mean, if somebody shows up at your door, like, what you gonna do? You know, like, I'll just give it back.
How long did it take you to get the confidence to become the player that you used to be after the shooting?
Well, I was in this interesting situation where I had been with somebody for like 6 months and then I got shot.
Yeah.
And then we ended up staying together and getting married, actually. So I was in like a almost 8-year relationship. So I kind of didn't have to be a player or.
So but even then you must have been like the first time you after the shooting, you must have been scared or nervous.
Oh, for
right?
sure. Yeah. I was like, can I even, like,
yeah.
But
but you did, you were able to.
Yeah.
Is it through modern medicine? I'm just
Yeah, for sure. Because
okay.
a lot of people don't know this, but we get two erections. You get the one where like if they start touching you, you'll get hard, but then your brain sends a signal to stay hard. And because of my injury, I don't get that signal, so I got to take like a Viagra or Cialis, or they have like injections now that you could use.
Oh yeah, that's
to
great.
Like stay hard.
Yeah, but that's great. That's who cares, right?
Yeah. And then some women will be like, but you can't feel, so is that even fun? And I'm like, it's still fun seeing your.
You still that's what, it's just like what I was saying though too. When I'm fucking, I'm not. I mean, obviously it feels good, but I'm not like doing it for me at that point. I'm like, I love what's going on between me and this girl right here.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh man, that's great. Praise God.
Do you feel like stand up helped you kind of get, or do you feel like that was a little bit of a motivation too? Because you're like, I can't walk, so I gotta do something else. I don't know, like gotta get a talent or something.
No, actually, the girl that I'm dating now, like I was talking to her about this recently. She was like, "So did I like laugh your panties off of you?" And she was like, "Hell yeah!" When I saw you on stage the first time, cause I have a few like sex jokes, and she was like, "I'm gonna be next, bro." She was like,
I'm gonna be next. I love
that. See this
she
girl.
was like, "I'm gonna get it, bro."
You drive though too, right?
Yeah.
How does your car work?
It's just hand controls. They're like attachment that attach to the brake and the gas.
Yeah.
And then I just drive with one hand, and then just.
Dude, that's so great, man.
Yes.
Yeah, you always had such an upbeat attitude. But life's going great for you since stand up started, man.
Yeah, for sure.
But you are older. Let me ask you this question: there's I know I think about this stuff all the time, but is there anything about back in the day that you remember? Like just in terms of living life. When you think about your kids and how they live their life, is there anything that you wish that they had that they don't have anymore?
Just being outside. Like,
isn't that crazy?
Like that's a big thing. I feel like when I was a kid, I was always outside. I was always on my bike.
Yeah.
Just getting home super late. Kids don't do that. But like, I was in these streets kind of.
Yeah, you had to have been Steve, right?
Yeah, I was throwing rocks at cars. I was mooning cars. Like, it was so bad.
I was outside all the time. In fact, I remember I had a paper route.
That was fun. I feel like I would have really liked that as a job if I was like a kid.
It was really fun. I didn't. It sucked because you had to get up early, but I mean, I was 12 years old and I had it.
And you're just riding your bike.
Yeah, but you have to get up early, so it was because people had to have their paper by 6:30 a.m. So I'd be like, in 5th grade or something, and they dropped once a month. You go and they give you rubber bands, and you give them the money. So I would have to go collect all the subscriber money.
Yeah.
So it was the San Gabriel Valley Tribune. I went to one apartment building. Had 1 street, 2 street, 3 street. It was probably like 25 or 30. It was like so small when I think about it. But every month then they give you these cards that you have to say, pay your $7 for the month. And then they would tip you on top of that. And that's how you got most of your money. So people would give me $3 on 7, or they'd give me like 5. I mean, this is when I'm, 12 years old. Back in the day, like in 1990 or something.
Yeah, that meant something.
Yeah, so I would, like, once a month, I would get like $60. I can't even, like, that was obviously so long ago, but I can't tell you what $60 meant when you're 12 years old once a month.
So $60 right now is a lot to me.
But I would like go to 7-Eleven. I would buy like expensive comic books, like a $10 issue back then. But I was balling out, and it's so funny to me now that kids would never even. I mean, everyone's afraid to let their kids out of the house. I was like it was in the dark sometimes at 6 a.m. where I'd be dropping off these papers and shit. But you would never let your kid do that now.
Yeah, because motherfuckers be stealing you now. Like, they be stealing kids.
They've always stolen kids.
But I guess. I don't know. I just feel like there's more creepier people around than before.
Or is it that, like, because of social media, it's just more, like, reported? But, yeah, I feel like they've been kidnapping kids forever.
Yeah, if you hear...
I feel like there's more weirdos in the world now than there was before.
No way. Think about this. I've heard about, like, old serial killers, like, before... Think about before there were phones and shit. There used to be guys who would go from, like, town to town, and they'd be, like, looking for... Hey, if you need a handyman or something, that motherfucker would kill people. People would just go to the next town, and you would never even know who these people were.
Well, and we're talking about modern times. Just think about, like, back in the day, like, 100 years ago, like that. Even that's more recent. But like medieval times, for example, like that was a way of life, like raping and pillaging.
And that's when they had chastity belts, right?
No, but I will say, that raping and pillaging. That's what I like to call the good old days. You know what I'm talking about?
Ladies, strap them chastity belts.
Yeah, you guys were talking about, like, that was like a real thing?
No.
I say so. I'm trying to make it a real thing, actually.
Listen.
Chastity thongs.
Let me tell you guys about Stevona.
Safe and
Whatever
sexy.
you hear on these particular episodes, like we record on Thursdays, anything she says on these nights are thrown out the window by Thursday night at the Chatterbox open mic. Everything.
Yeah, I was literally telling my friends last night, I'm like, man, they gave the wrong bitch a podcast.
She will have these strong opinions about things. I'm not trying to blow up her spot, but she'll say a strong opinion on Thursday at 2 p.m. and that night, that shit is out the window. That's all I'm saying.
I was going to tell you that. I was literally going to be like, you know what? I'm never telling you, never am I doing nothing. Because I'll be like, I'll never do that. And then literally that fucking night, 2 White Claws later, I'm doing that exact fucking thing I said I wouldn't do.
And I'll like turn the hall, and then she'll just see me, and I'm just looking at her like that, smiling.
I was like, I'm just going to stop saying that now because it gets crazy. Y'all need to show up so you can see what I'm talking about.
Do you want to get married? Do you believe in marriage?
I mean,
you do.
I
not,
guess
right?
kind of.
No.
Yes.
Like 90s. Like I grew up in the 90s, so I feel like a little bit. I'm kind of like, I want that 90s love a little bit. I kind of have a little bit.
You want that 90s love?
Yeah. Like
marriage has been around for a very long time. Yeah. You know that?
I want that
you mean
BC
like Huxtable love or what? Married with children?
Kind of like that traditional, but I mean, I've been married already. I'm divorced, so
just one time, right?
Just one time. Yeah.
So don't you think after you've been divorced? Because I knew this after I got divorced. I was like, oh, the whole thing's kind of a sham. You don't think that?
Yeah, for sure. It's just a piece of paper.
Yeah, then you don't. Then why would you want to do that again?
I didn't say for sure. I'm just saying if it happens, it happens. You know, like if the right one.
It's nice to be called a wife and a husband rather than like I don't want to be fucking 60 years old. This is my boyfriend. Like. I
will give you that.
Like that's so fucking lame. Like what?
I mean, you could still say like this is my husband, even
no,
if you're not.
But it's
if you're
not,
not
though.
Yeah, you don't have to have the
still,
paper.
Yeah, you can
just
no,
say
I
that.
don't want to have the ceremony. I want to have people. I used to be against marriage too until I went to Karina and Joshua's wedding, and I was like, wow, this is beautiful. Everybody comes and like witnesses your love, says something nice about it, and actually really like celebrates it, and then from there you guys get to call each other wife and husband. Like I said, I don't want to be fucking senior citizen. This is my husband.
Yeah, I mean, I get it.
I like you, sweetheart.
I like calling Julia my wife, but yeah, I told her very early on. I told her I don't want to. You know that I don't believe in marriage. You know I think it's a sham.
But you did it for her though, right?
Yeah.
See, that's all I care about too. I don't care if a man believes in it. Just do it for him. Like, what's so hard about it? If you don't believe in it, just do it, right?
But there's like legal implications too that you have to worry about.
What did you do for legality? Anything crazy? No.
Well, this guy, he probably has more to lose. I have nothing.
What do you have to lose?
Well, not my divorce was cool. Like, we didn't fight about it. We're still cool to this day. It was just like, man. Well, we were young too. You know, we
I
got
don't think
together
I would fight
young.
with anybody though.
Of course you would. If you got kids too.
Like, let's say hypothetically, like, throw a few $1,000,000 into the equation and see if you won't fight about it.
Okay, but isn't that like when you guys get married, you guys talk those things out? Isn't that kind of what like a what's that thing called where you sign the papers?
Prenup?
A prenup. Kind of, you guys can decide all of that before. Like, if we ever divorce, this is what you take, this is what I'm gonna take, and then if the divorce ever happens, it just follows that way, like what the prenup is.
Yeah, but like if Daniel got married in a year, or like let's say he got married tomorrow. He doesn't have enough to like be like, you got to sign this prenup. They'd be like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
So if he did end up making millions, which he's very funny, there's a good chance that he could become a wildly successful comedian and make all that money. Then in 10 years, if they got a divorce, then she would be entitled to half his money.
So are you saying that marriage only matters if you're rich? Really? Like, you have actually have something to lose if you're rich, so you should only get married. You should get married if you're poor or middle class, because you don't got anything anyways that the other person can take.
I do think that marriage is a business transaction.
Okay.
I think it's the merging of two corporations. I think that's how the law views it too.
But what if both the corporations are broke?
Yeah, then it doesn't matter.
They both small businesses.
2 kiosks.
They're both mom and pops.
There are a couple of kiosks in the mall.
That's funny.
Well, yeah. Then they don't get prenups. That's what I'm saying. Then it don't matter.
That means it's really for like love, right?
Sure, that's what people say. I mean,
but why did Julia want to get married?
For her, she wanted to for love, for all the things you're saying. She wants to be called a wife.
And you too, right? You want to get married for all the like love.
I mean, why? Like, all right, I didn't have like a traditional marriage in the sense of I was like, so in love, let's just get married. So my ex-wife was born in Mexico accidentally because her mom was like 8 months pregnant and she was out there on vacation. And
Wait, hold on. So, and her mom was an American citizen?
No, they were already living here, but they went on vacation in Mexico, and she was at a market, and some guy was like, had stole something or something and was running away from someone and crashed into her, dropped her, and she went into labor right there.
Oh!
So she was born in Mexico when they already lived here.
And the whole plan was for her to be an American citizen.
Exactly.
But because she accidentally got born in Mexico.
Yeah.
Your mom's like, damn it, we don't want this one no more.
Yeah. So we had, but at this point we had been together like a few years, and we were just kind of like, well, we're together, we're serious, might as well like get married, fix your papers, and do that whole. So it was kind of like, we loved each other. We were for sure in love.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like.
There's a little push behind it.
Yeah, there was like a little bit of an extra reason for it.
And I think that's because why does the government have to have any involvement with any of this? But I think if we're talking practically, that's a great reason to get married. To give your partner health insurance, that's a great reason to get married. These things should not be tied to each other, but they are. That's the way it is in this country. So these are good practical reasons. And Julia's dad is in finance, and he helps people plan their retirements and stuff. And he was always like, hey, you guys, it's just easier to get everything done if you're married. If, God forbid, something happens, it's just easier to get money and everything from the state. And if something gets hurt, for you to be in the hospital, all that. That's why gay people have fought for marriage rights, too, so that they could be in the hospital room if their spouse is dying. So it's kind of to this country that all these weird things are tied to it, but yeah, I mean, these are logical reasons to get married, but love ain't one of those logical reasons.
That's the least logical reason.
Yes, absolutely. What does all this have to do with it? That's not no.
Yeah.
Daniel, you're the best. Where can we find you online?
I'm at D Alvarez TV on Instagram, and all my other social medias are basically D Alvarez TV.
And I'm gonna give you another Chatterbox spot. He's so funny. Whenever he does the box, people love him so much. I'll give you another Chatterbox spot so that you can come see him here. Thank you guys so much for listening. You can find me at Big Hern. I'm Hernia at Instagram. How about you, Stevona?
I'm Stevona Delgado on Instagram, Stevona's House on YouTube, and just Stevona on TikTok.
Yeah. Let's get the subscriber count
What
up.
about that?
Let's go. So subscribe. Get it in.
No,
Okay. Can I just tell you guys a funny story about the Chatterbox? So I came because I was kind of dating Mala at the time, and
Yeah.
she told me about the Chatterbox, right? So I didn't have any, like, no knowledge about the Chatterbox or anything like that.
Yeah.
So I just came, and I guess she had talked to you about me, and then I got up, and then you booked me that day, the first time I came up.
Yeah.
And then tell me why later on that night I went to another mic, and Vinny, I told Vinny, oh yeah, I just did Chatterbox, like I got on the show. He was like, you motherfucker, I've been going there for 3 years, and I still haven't gotten booked. And I
Love
was
it.
like,
I miss Vinny Vega. Vinny Vega, come back, okay, bro? I know these other places, you're doing the same sad jokes, but Chatterbox, comics, listen up. You come to the Chatterbox, you keep coming, you will become a better comic. That's a fact. You can go to these other mics. You can hang out at your Third Wheels, at your whatever, your Hollywood comedies, and they will not take the Pepsi challenge like I did. Come to the mic. Come to Chatterbox. We love you guys so much. Dylan Sobiza is headlining this Sunday night. Be here. I love you guys. Subscribe. Bye.
Bye.